Hi, Jim. So great to see you in Toronto.
You. Good to be here. I love the city, yes.
So tell me more about why you love Toronto.
Well, it's interesting. I used to be up here quite a bit. I worked for a financial industry service company, direct marketing and database marketing, and CIBC was my client. So about, 15 years ago now, or maybe a little bit more, I was servicing CIBC in a marketing context, and we had two people that were full-time up here, and I came up here about 3 days a week for about 5 years. So
Wow.
I got a whole lot of foot traffic in Toronto, got to understand it and really see the beauty of the city, but also all the underpinnings of the neighborhoods and even up in the cottage country, everything that the whole metro area provides.
Wow. So what's your favorite spot in Toronto?
Actually, downtown. I love the energy of downtown, and especially as a visitor, to be close to downtown and all the activity. I mean, the Toronto Film Festival just ended this last weekend. That's one of the high points of the year. At least it was for me when I came up here. But more importantly, or just as importantly, you have sports. You have baseball, you have hockey, you have basketball. I'm a Clevelander, but I love sports and actually have had some good Cleveland moments up in Toronto that may not have been as much a positive Toronto experience. But, it's there's so much diversity, so much energy. I feel like it's very similar to Chicago or New York. It's an international feeling because I travel internationally for what I do. So Toronto also has a lot of diversity of nationalities and communities, and you have great shopping and entertainment, as I mentioned.
I echo what you just said. I actually took the up train yesterday, and it was just a 20-minute drive to the center of the city, and walking around was really safe and pleasant experience.
Yeah, and it's interesting because you come to a city like Toronto, and just coming to the city, we drove in from Cleveland, which is where I live, to see all the cranes, all the buildings, all the skyscrapers, and remembering how much the skyline has changed over the last decade is insane. I mean, it's not just the banking buildings, but it's all the buildings that are going up, and so much residential is coming to the downtown area.
Well, I've been to Toronto many times, but this is the first time visiting the convention center. So what's the significance of this convention center for the financial service community?
Well, it provides the opportunity to have huge networking events. So you have the ability to bring a lot of people together under one roof with multiple levels, so you can divide up the conference to maybe the sessions and the vendors in different areas. Food service has been tremendous. I mean, it's really interesting how well they've done in the food area. You also have entertainment. You have all kinds of other things that can go on because it's such a large space. But just importantly, it's very centrally located. I'm at a hotel that's actually connected to the convention center. You have the Rogers Center right across the street where they play baseball. You have all this dynamic energy that feeds off each other. And you got the hockey and basketball arena very close by as well. So it's and the train system, obviously the train system in Toronto is really key to moving, both beyond the city but within the city as well.
Wow, I need to hire you as my personal guide the next time.
Well, I'm a big fan of Toronto, and it's interesting because at the end of the day, the cities are defined by its people. And I remember going back and people would say, we really like the people from the U.S. They're very friendly, even especially the people from New York, and that wasn't something at that time they were known for, but they do quite well. And I'd say, but no, I think the Toronto people are so much nicer, and we would argue over that point. What was also interesting is there's differences. I mean, I live in North America, but I live in the United States. We think that Toronto and the United States are virtually the same. They are far from it. We rely on each other in many ways, but what's interesting, there's dynamic differences, there's cultural differences, there's even the way you say certain things are different. But most importantly, I think, was the whole perception that, and this may get me in trouble in some places, but at the United States and Canada, people realize they're part of the universe, and they visit these places ongoing. They go, international travel is something that is born into the ecosystem here. The United States would sometimes think we're the center of the universe, which it was a great education to be up here and realizing that really there's so many places to see. people back in the day that I was up here more often, people in Canada were able to visit places in a way that we weren't able to in the United States. They were able to visit Dominican Republic, they were able to visit Cuba, other places, which just expands your horizon. But it's also interesting that in Toronto, many people still define when you ask them where you're from, and I meant where in Toronto, they give me their family heritage. That shows how important heritage is to the city of Toronto, that to keep that heritage within the family, as even though family members may have been born in Toronto.
Wow, that's a salient point, and absolutely, and I feel the same. I feel the level of energy as soon as I stepped into the airport yesterday. And what's your favorite restaurant in Toronto?
I don't know if I have a favorite. I don't have a go-to, because it's one of those things that I try to experience as much as I can now that I come to Toronto. I mean, some of the restaurants I may mention may not be in place anymore because I usually spend a lot more time up here. But coming up here, we went to a neighborhood sports bar yesterday because we were watching a football game, and it was great energy and great people. And what's interesting, you mentioned it also, that the energy doesn't necessarily die down at night. There's some cities that the sidewalks roll up, but it's a safe city. You feel comfortable. You can walk around, and it's interesting too because there is so much to see. There's a lot of light areas. I'm a major urban art person, so I'm going to be on Thursday. I'm going to be going to a place where I guess there's a whole lot of graphic artists and graffiti that's in the area that they're known for. So one thing I try to, whenever I visit any city internationally, it's one of the places I try to see is where are the best, urban art places that are in the city.
Wow, fantastic. So I actually went to a Hero Back restaurant last night. If you are a sashimi lover, go check it out. There's also a fusion restaurant, and I think it's Charchato Maggi. Go check that out when you have opportunity.
You know what? And I'll tell you something, Jack. Even if you're not a hockey fan, I was able to visit the Hockey Hall of Fame Museum for the first time. It is really something special. It's built in an old bank building. You can tell because the vault and the safe are still there. But we had a great hospitality event there on Monday night, and it's something I never thought I'd be able to see, so it's quite nice.
Definitely check that out. I also wanted to check out the Kensington Market.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then all the underground, all the train stations that have a lot of shops in the underground. Another place, when you have more time, get up to the cottage country. It's amazing what kind of lake life and boating life they have in Toronto outside the city. A lot of people go there during the summertime when it's warmer to relax over the weekends, and a lot of them have their own dynamics that are unique. I mean, I used to go up to Muskoka, and one thing that was interesting about Muskoka was the number of people from Pittsburgh that own property in that area. It's just one of those things that was an area that's developed a lot by the people from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So a lot of things to see and do.
Well, thank you, Jim. Thank you so much. I see you all the time in the financial service community. So glad to get your point of view on how much you love about Toronto today.
Well, and speaking of financial services, it's a financial hub in Toronto. There's a lot of financial hubs that are primary that are talked about all the time, but you have a lot of big banks up here. I'm very familiar with every one of them, and it makes it so that people talk finance here all the time.
Absolutely, because I deployed AI at a financial institution 6 years ago. The first time I visited was around here, and that's you're right. And then there's so many academic knowledge around emerging technology here as well.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Jim, for the time.
Appreciate it.
And until next time.
Yes, I see you.